Welcome to Channel X TV. Delighted to be joined by one of my friends today, Neil. So welcome, Neil. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, Chris. Thanks very much for inviting me along. Yeah, great to see you again. Great to chat.
So, Neil, you're at Furniturebox, but before we get onto that, just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've done in your career so far, and how you've ended up working at Furniturebox as head of customer services.
Sure. Yeah, no problem at all. So, I mean, I've spent most of my career in either customer services or sales in one respect or another.
I've got to ask, is there any difference? Because it's still looking after the customer.
Well, there is actually, and it's quite a big difference between the pre-sale and the post-sale. And I think that when in a sales role, it's very much everything is positive, everything is great. Whatever you want, we can do. We've got what you need. We've got it for great prices. We've got it better than anywhere else. Everything's yes, yes, yes. And that's quite exciting, and it's all about getting people over the line. And there's lots of targets to meet in sales, and you've got to be good at it. You've got to go in for the handshake at the right point. If you go in for the handshake too early, it's not going to happen. And if someone's gone past the point that they want to buy, they've gone as well. And it's all about kind of like sort of funneling people as well, so that they haven't got necessarily. You give them a couple of options that they can choose from, and you keep sort of qualifying them with questions and getting them into somewhere where then they're ready to buy a product that you've got. And then for customer service, the after sales side of it is very different. And again, it's all extremely positive. But I think when someone comes through after sales, there's an issue, something's happened, something's gone wrong. And it's as well as, always an immediate apology, but it's can you put it right? Can you take the action that you need to take to get something put right?
And I know I was a bit in tongue in cheek, but I always think that the easiest people to sell to are probably the people that have already bought from you before, which is why I think customer service is so important. Either they'll buy again or they'll tell their friends and colleagues to buy from you.
Yeah, quite. I mean, it's as long as they've had a good experience before, and that's why it's all important, isn't it? And I think that when consumers buy from a company, they place trust in that company. So this company has told them that you can have this product for such and such a price, and you can have it by then, and this is what it does, and this is what it looks like, and this is, and in their head they've worked that through, and they've decided that it's right for them. And then can you follow through on that? And if you can follow through on it, and if you can get them in a position where you've done everything that you've promised that you will do, they'll be fine. They'll be great. They'll be back. And if something goes wrong and you can help it and you can put them right quickly, all the better. I think people will generally give companies one chance to put something right. And I think we all know that things do go wrong from time to time, and most people will give you one opportunity, and you've got to take it. You've got to take it in after sales, and then if you've done that right, absolutely they'll be back, and you haven't got to go and try and buy another customer from somewhere and market somewhere else because they're repeat customers and recommending you, and that organic growth will come from that if they talk to people. And that's where we fit in. That's where I've always felt that me or my team have fitted in within a company.
So
anyway.
Sales in the past, customer services at Furniturebox today. But tell us a bit about Furniturebox. For those that don't know the business, what do you do? Where do you fit into to the ecosystem?
So furniturebox.co.uk, so online furniture retailer then, based in Wiltshire, started by Dan Beckles and Monty George when they were 17, and in 2015, so 10 years ago now. We sell furniture for your garden and for your home, all rooms, lots of different styles. We're all stocked, ready to go. If you want something and you live within quite one of the largest areas in the UK that we cover with next day delivery, you can order it up until 8 o'clock on an evening, and it will be with you the next day. That's the service promise that we've got. And I mean that's what the company does, and its ethos really is growth with good service. It puts service at a very high level in terms of things that are important to it. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be there and help with that, really.
Sounds like a fun place to work. I'm thinking you're in Wiltshire, I'm in Berkshire. I could definitely get a next day order still today.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's very few areas that we can't do it to. But so, yeah, I mean, we're national. We cover the whole of the UK, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. So, yeah, definitely Berkshire. No problem, Chris. What do you need?
I'll keep that one offline, and I'll go and look at the
Fair
furniturebox.co.uk website.
No
But
problem.
I'm interested, for those that are watching, they're going to want to know a bit about the shape of the business. And obviously you're selling on furniturebox.co.uk, but which other channels have you adopted these days?
So yeah, we sell on our website. Then, as you said, we also sell on quite a few other marketplaces. So Amazon, eBay. We sell on B&Q, The Range. Wayfair is another big one. Debenhams. Yeah, there's Tesco as well. There's a lot of channels out there that we sell on.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You three of those channels you said have only been around at like a couple of years. Tesco's less than a year. B&Q and Debenhams are just a few years. Amazon and eBay have been around for the best part of 30 years. So there's still opportunities for growth. And obviously Wayfair as well, you said, in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of marketplaces out there now, isn't there? And the competition seems to be growing. Yeah, and there's newcomers into the business. I mean, Tesco, they did Tesco Direct about 8 or 10 years ago, I think, and then they stopped that, didn't they? They pulled out of that, and yeah, they've just started to give it another go sort of in the last year or so. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that develops.
So it looks like in the last few years you've been adding marketplaces like mad as they come along. How fast is Furniturebox growing today?
It's still growing. So when I joined there in 2019. There was probably around about, I don't know, maybe 20 employees, 20, 25, somewhere around that. I think we're up in around the 80s now. I mean, there's more products, there's more channels, there's more sales, there's more marketplaces, there's more locations, breaking through into North America and now US and Canada. There's more space, there's more complexity. These are the things that happen when a company's growing, but it's all positive challenges. It's all positive. But yeah, I mean, we in 2022 we moved into I think it's 90,000 square foot warehouse in Chippenham, from which we distribute from. So that's big, and yeah, that's stock full of goods ready to go next day. So,
well, congratulations to you and the founders. Sounds like a great business. But I want to dig a bit more into your role now. And more specifically, to ask, how do you maintain service and indeed feedback, which we know is massively important, not just on marketplaces, but people who leave reviews on your own website. So how do you maintain the service and feedback at scale with that kind of growth curve of you're constantly adopting new platforms that have different challenges. You're growing your customer base. You're growing your products. You've got new products coming through. How do you maintain the service and the feedback and reviews at that sort of scale?
No, it's a really good question, and I think that customer service is still very much a people game, and I think there's two groups of people that definitely need a mention right at the start. The first one is for our customers who, in the main, seem to be very happy in terms of the feedback that they give us. I mean, I don't want to stay here and say everything's great. There are some customers that do need our help to put things right, and it does happen. We're all human. Mistakes happen. Things go wrong, but we're very quick to try and put that right for them. And then I think the other group of people is the staff in the team, because I mean, as the head of a department and us as a company, from a customer service side, are only as good as the people that are in the team. And it's really important to get the right mix, the right people in there. I always sometimes feel that you need to be a little bit, there's something about working in customer service and not everyone can do it. And I've seen that over my experience in working in other companies. There are people that struggle with customer service. There are people that struggle with sales, and then there are people that seem to just meld with it and go with it, and they're able to do it, and they understand that they're dealing with people, and they understand the emotions that they're trying to deal with and that they're trying to put right. They understand that it's about taking action and getting things right for the customer. those two groups of people are clearly the main things to be aware of in customer service. It's your staff need to be right, and we're very lucky in Furniturebox with what we've got. They're such a great team.
Yeah, I've always thought customer service is a tricky job. I mean, for those that know me, they'll know I used to sell full time as a marketplace seller, and you'd get a complaint, and it was so personal because they're complaining about you. And I've told so many people over the years, you've got to imagine you're working for a call center, a BT or a Vodafone or something, and it's just a job. It's not personal. Your job is to be nice and put it right for them. And I do think it needs someone that is calm, especially if a customer starts getting a bit irate, whether it's written irate or on the phone irate. They've got to just take it and deal with it.
So I think one of the tricks is that when you're working in customer services is that you need to be aware of the emotion, but you need to step out of that emotion. And when something's going wrong with a customer, you know, they will become frustrated, as you or I would be, Chris, if we expect something to happen and it hasn't.
Oh, I know. I mean, I love buying online because there's that. Just before we started recording this, there was a knock at the door and it was Royal Mail with a parcel. So I can't wait to open the parcel and see if it's what I bought and if I'm happy with it, and I'm sure it will be. But if something is wrong, then you've kind of lost all of that joy. And I guess customer services should be putting me back into that position of being joyful at the purchase again.
Exactly. I mean, you're with that package that you've got from Parcel Force there. You're on a journey, Chris, and that journey started way before you bought it. You felt that there was a need for whatever product there was. You researched it. You found a shop that you thought was online that could deliver it quickly, that was the right price, that was the right quality. You know, that journey, you've gone through that part now. You've gone through the dispatch, and you're right at the point now where you've got it. And that journey might carry on in a very positive manner when you open it and it's exactly what you want and it's great. Or maybe there's a little chip in whatever it is, and maybe it's a little bit damaged, and immediately your journey's going to change. And what my team do is we try and put you back on your original tracks. You know, your original track that you were on when you made that purchase. That's where you need to get back to. And it might take a day or two. Sometimes it take a week or two. Sometimes it might take 2 or 3 goes. But that's what customer service is about. It's about trying to get you back on your journey, which was the journey you expected right at the start when you decided you had a need for this product.
So I'm interested, as head of customer services, obviously everyone's got some products which have more customer service issues than others over a lifetime. How do you go about tracking and solving problems so that they don't occur again, which might be all the way back to the product description, or it might be delivery instructions? It might be something very simple you can do that just changes the needle on how many complaints or queries you get about a particular product. How do you go about tracking all of this?
No, it's a very good question, and from a customer service agent's point of view, they need to be able to know that this feedback that they're getting from customers, this real-time voice of the customer feedback, has to be heard within the company, and changes have to be made. Otherwise, they're just going to be rehashing the same apology, the same this, that. It's got to be looked at and worked on. And probably about 18 months ago now, we put in a process called Customer First. And we've got one of my colleagues in the team now that spends her time looking at that. So all the feedback that we get from customers, whether it be about a product, whether it be that the product's great, whether it be some suggestions about the product, whether it be suggestions about the delivery, whether it be, heaven forbid, you know, some of it gets damaged, what are the damage numbers, that kind of thing. All of that is fed back. And we've got that tracked. And we raise it with the appropriate part of the business, whether that could be internal. So it could be, you know, it could be that there's maybe a description is wrong, the weight's a different weight, the height's a different height. But it's important to get that sorted quickly, because otherwise they're still going to be going out the door and they're going to be coming straight back if they don't fit in the space that people think they're going to fit in. And there's, you know, it's that cost to the business that we try and deal with and take away. So, and sometimes we need to contact suppliers as well if there's an issue with, you know, product or packaging. And we need to get on that quickly, and we need to make sure that that's put right. Because at the end of the day, it's all about getting everything right for the customer. And to be honest, Chris, I don't think I've ever worked in a company that's done that. Because I think we were chatting internally about that a while back, and I did think back, and I thought I've never seen that actually anywhere else, where it's formalized, where it's recorded, where the actions are monitored, and where it's ticked off to make sure it's done. Very important.
Yeah, I think that is so important. And it's quite fascinating to me that you joined effectively a startup 4 years in, and you've been there, what, 6 years now. So what kind of lessons can you share with other retailers? And what do you wish you'd known when you joined the company, a relatively new 4-year-old startup, that you wish you'd put in place straight away rather than learning 6 years later?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I think that for me, it's funny, I've probably learned more in this company than in any other company that I've worked for. And I didn't necessarily expect it to be like that when I joined. And I've learned that you have to think outside of the box with problems. And I think when I started, because I come from maybe bigger companies, big corporate companies where everything's quite rigid, everything's quite regimented. There's a lot of procedures that are in place. There's a lot of things that perhaps are quite difficult to change. And sometimes when you're presented with a problem in that environment, you would default to whatever the process is, but the process might not work. It might not be, when you're in a growing company, what works one day might not work the next day. And I think it probably took me a little bit too long to realize that actually when you've got an issue, don't just look at it and think about all the things that you've done previously and what policies you've got in place and what procedures you've got in place. Almost put all that to one side, and it's like, what is the best way to resolve this? That's the question. And sort of blank your mind out of everything that you've learned or anything that you've picked up, and just what is the best way to do it, and do it. Don't let yourself get tied down or bogged down with anything. Just if it's the right thing to do and it can be done, do it, is what I would say. That is what I would say to someone.
Yeah, and I really like that attitude. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, I had an item I'd purchased, and the courier basically lost it. It just disappeared into the courier hub, and there was no more tracking. Right. And the default reaction of the business was, "Don't worry, we'll give you an instant refund." And I went, "Whoa, hang on, I don't want a refund. I bought the product because I really, really want the product. Can you not just ship me a replacement rather than refund me and then I've got to go and buy it again? Just send another one out." And I think different customers will want different things, and being able to resolve it in different ways, whether it be for the benefit of Furniturebox.co.uk or for the benefit of the customer or the benefit of both, makes a huge difference.
But again, it's like you were on that journey, weren't you? You've chosen a product, you've bought it, you expect it to arrive, and someone's just they've pushed you off that, they've pushed you off the road there, and it's like, well, maybe you don't want the product, maybe you have your money back. And I wonder if that was a channel actually that was on, as opposed to a direct retailer.
I'm not going to name names, but you might be on the right track there. Yeah. But suffice to say that the retailer sent a replacement out, and I was delighted with it.
Exactly, and it's about finding out what the customer wants and how can you put it right. And don't just assume that someone wants their money back because they've already decided to buy it.
So. Massively fascinated, Neil. It's been lovely talking to you. But what's next on your agenda? What are you looking forward to in 2025? Have you got anything that you're looking to improve on the customer service? Anything new coming up in the company?
There's always a lot going on. I think for my team now, the new things that are coming. So we're dealing with customers that are in North America now. And
it's a different time though, but thankfully the same language.
Well, funnily enough, actually, we're getting a lot of Spanish inquiries through.
Oh,
actually, So, and that's interesting, and probably we need to look out of the box about how to not use Google Translate on those, and think through that, and think through a better way of doing that. But yeah, in the main they are the same language. So but it's a different. Although the language is the same, I mean the maybe what people need and what people expect are different. And one of the things we've learned about maybe the UK is because we're, you know, maybe like a smaller nation, people do kind of expect things to arrive the next day, and they expect them to be there when you've told them they'll be there. But I have noticed that actually in North America, it isn't like that at all. And they're happy to order something, and you know, it will show up in sort of 4 to 10 days, and that's not an issue. So it's kind of like it's learning the customer base really, and at some point we're probably going to have to recruit over there. But for now, it's just learning about other countries, learning about what they need and what they expect as we grow there in US and Canada.
Well, I look forward to coming back maybe this time next year to find out how your North America sales are going and how customer service has evolved there. Really interesting on the difference in expectations. I think that's what customer service is really all about. It is meeting those expectations.
Yeah, quite. I would agree.
So, Neil, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, Chris, no, pleasure. Absolutely. And thanks for asking me.